By the year 2047, humanity had successfully mastered the solar system. We had permanent, thriving colonies established on the moon, and massive mining operations were carving through the red dust of Mars. But that rapid expansion came with a terrifying asterisk. 7 years earlier, the absolute pinnacle of human spaceflight engineering, a classified vessel named the Event Horizon, vanished without a single trace. Then, it returned. The ship drifted onto radar screens, completely unpowered, tumbling through the freezing, violent storms in the orbit of Neptune. Humanity's greatest technological achievement had become a floating tomb. The government scrambled the Lewis and Clark, a specialized search and rescue vessel, to intercept it and find out exactly what happened in the dark. Piercing through Neptune's violently raging atmospheric storms, the Lewis and Clark crew carefully locked their airlocks onto the derelict giant. Once inside, they found absolute, suffocating silence. The zero-gravity environments were littered with frozen debris and floating drops of blood, but held no sign of the original crew. The truth surfaced when they recovered the ship's final video logs. The original crew wasn't wiped out by a mechanical failure. Instead, they were captured on video screaming in a dead language, having brutally mutilated themselves and each other. The rescue team had entered a floating slaughterhouse where the laws of human nature were discarded. Dr. William, the ship's designer, was forced to confess the true nature of the mission. The Event Horizon was a highly classified government project built to achieve faster-than-light travel using an experimental gravity drive. Instead of traveling in a straight line for thousands of years, the drive was built to fold space-time itself. Imagine this flat grid as space. If you fold that grid in half and punch a hole through it, 2 distant points connect instantly. The drive executed this fold perfectly. However, in that brief moment where the 2 points connected, it pushed the ship outside the boundaries of our known universe. It slipped into a dimension of pure, chaotic energy, a place of endless torment that mirrors the human concept of hell. In the race to conquer the stars, humanity's brightest minds inadvertently breached the barrier to a dimension of pure, infectious evil. The Event Horizon returned, saturated with the energy of that other realm, its metallic corridors now pulsing and reactive. It responded to the rescue crew's presence with a hostile, biological aggression, behaving more like a living organism than a machine. The ship began isolating the crew's deepest traumas and weaponizing those memories. Medical technician Peters found herself chasing hyper-realistic hallucinations of her young son, his legs covered in brutal wounds, luring her toward fatal drops. Dr. Williams suffered a total psychological collapse. The entity seduced his mind using vivid visions of his deceased wife, calling him into the dark, until he became a physical avatar for the ship itself. Acting on the ship's behalf, William destroyed the Lewis and Clark rescue vessel and began physically mutilating the survivors, trapping everyone aboard the possessed vessel. By weaponizing its victims' own grief, the ship bypassed physical hull integrity to destroy their sanity from the inside out. Captain Miller watched his crew get picked off one by one, realizing the mission objective had shifted. He had to ensure absolute containment to prevent this dimensional anomaly from reaching Earth. In the engineering deck, William had already reactivated the gravity drive, initiating a short countdown to pull the entire ship back into the hell dimension. Miller formulated a desperate response. He rigged the ship's central corridor with explosives, aiming to physically sever the infected rear section from the forward crew quarters. As the countdown neared 0, Miller fought through visceral hallucinations of his dead comrade and the possessed William. He detonated the charges just as the gravity drive ripped open a massive black hole. The explosion divided the ship. Miller and the gravity drive were sucked into the endless dark, while his physical sacrifice successfully severed the mechanical link, leaving the forward section drifting safely as a lifeboat. 72 days passed before a second rescue team finally breached the surviving forward section, recovering the heavily traumatized survivors. But as they were carried out, Stark experienced one final, terrifying jolt. When her rescuer's helmet visor lifted, she briefly saw the mutilated face of Dr. Williams staring back at her, before the image vanished. It leaves an unsettling question, whether these visions are simply the lingering scars of severe trauma, or if that cosmic darkness has permanently attached itself to their minds. Humanity might be able to physically outrun the dark corners of the universe, but crossing certain scientific boundaries invites psychological horrors that can never be unseen.